LOS Tidris.
Roger. Nice to be in orbit.
So welcome to Book Club. This is a comedy show where Colin and I every month read a book so that you don't have to.
But you're also, if you would like, you should. Or can. There's no obligation. We don't say, yeah.
And sometimes Colin doesn't read the book, but we still love him.
I always read half the book.
Yeah, that's true.
I think that is, I technically have read the book.
Yeah.
A bit of it.
You've read a bit of the book. So this month we decided to do What Happened by Hillary Clinton.
Yeah. So we decided to read it, even though it is a bit sad.
Yeah.
And, also, so I saw this tweet from Hillary Clinton about her book. And so she has offered to call One Lucky Book Club and talk with them about the book. So we signed up. Probably nothing is going to happen of it.
Yeah.
But
like we did tell her that if we did win, she should call like sometime around right now. But like we don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, it's sort of
Yeah.
We'll see.
So keep it in mind for later, maybe.
Yeah. But let's get back to the book.
Mm-hmm.
So most of you are probably familiar with the horror story of the election. And reading this book is a great way to relive that horror story.
Yeah, I started keeping a list of times I almost cried reading this book, but then it became obsolete because I started, like, actually crying reading the book. And one of the times was when I was reading the acknowledgments and she, like, thanks Bill and Chelsea, and I realized, like, this entire woman's life and family is all because she met one, like, kind of hot guy in a library, and, like, he's not even good enough for her, and, like, now, like, she's wasted. Okay. I felt like that was a joke when I wrote it, but saying it, I realized it was just extremely sad.
More of a, yeah. So we also are going to bring back a feature, which is people who suck in this book.
Yeah, so every month we list people who suck in the book. So last month we did Wuthering Heights, and it was like everyone in the book sucks.
Apart from, there were two people who didn't suck. But
yeah, I can't remember who they are. So in this book, People Who Suck, which was very easy to compile because I just looked at my marginalia and all the people that I had written, like, fuck this person. So number one, Tom Cotton.
Polling in general. Americans are either liars or science is wrong.
Yeah.
That's what we think.
James Comey, obviously. This one I have to say because Colin doesn't agree, but in my opinion, Bernie Sanders, but maybe not that much, and I know some of you disagree.
Yeah, so read the book,
actually. In the book, he sucks, but maybe that's just Hillary's opinion. All right, next one. The next one's a crowd favorite, Paul Ryan.
Fucking
Fuck that
sucks.
guy.
John Kelly sucks. He's not actually normal.
He's not. Everyone's like, John Kelly's the only reason we're not in a nuclear war, and I'm like, the concept of time is the only reason we're not in a nuclear war, because we will be in 6 months.
Mike Pence, fuck him.
Yeah, and then finally, fuck Donald Trump.
Yeah. So, and there's a lot of people we couldn't mention. Every Republican.
Probably Bill Clinton.
Yes.
So we went into the book and we were like, what happened? I feel like we know, we lived it, we experienced it, we like really had a hard time with it. But there were a lot of surprises in the book.
Yeah, there's a lot about food. There's a whole chapter on food. And she tries to convince us that she loves hot sauce, which came up before, if you were paying attention.
Yeah. And
she
talks for a long time about goldfish, and she's like, I love goldfish. I learned that they're only 155 calories per serving. And then and I put this up because I feel like it's so funny, but I want you to have the pleasure of reading it for yourself. She says, one time Liz, who's like this woman she knows who knows about calories, one time Liz brought something I hadn't tried before, flavor blasted goldfish. We passed around the bag and discussed whether it was better than the original. Some of my staff thought yes, which was incorrect.
She's quite funny. Yeah. Very funny. She was on Saturday Night Live, right?
Another surprise is her staff would sit on Quest bars, like this protein bar, because they would get too cold and they couldn't eat them, so they warmed them up like little birds with their butts.
She has a yoga barn in her backyard, which sounds kind of nice.
Yeah, if you can afford it.
Yoga barn. Yeah.
And then another surprise was, and this floored me, she's never used a computer at home or at work. Which is because, I mean, she has a phone. Obviously, she had to email from somewhere. But, yeah, she was like, I'm 70. And at the time, I was like, I'm old as hell. But I ended up being the youngest person I ran against, which is crazy. Barack Obama is like 37. Another surprise?
Oh, they were worried that at the inauguration, apparently all of the raincoats looked like Klan hoods, and there was like a big thing where they at the last minute were like, let's not wear the hoods. So yeah.
And then another thing that was cute was Hillary wrote about sending Obama a meme during like the debates he had with Mitt Romney, where Mitt Romney said he was going to cancel PBS or whatever.
And he also had a scandal about having his dog on the roof of his car, if you recall. So there's a lot of different versions of this meme. And we were trying to figure out which one she sent. That one's a bit shittily done, I think. I think the first one probably. This also a good option. Very violent.
Yeah, too violent.
This is a game. Which there's a lot going on there.
Who's this guy?
I actually don't know who the fuck that is. Some prick, I'm sure.
This seems a little bit like that happened in 2008. Why is this in a 2012 meme?
Yeah.
Wow. Come to our next show, which is about this meme.
Yeah.
And then also, this was a surprise that was, like, not a funny surprise. It was just like, oh, I forgot that happened because so many things happened in the campaign. But at one point, the former director of the CIA wrote an op-ed that that Vladimir Putin was a, trained intelligence agent and would know how to, find vulnerabilities in people and manipulate them. And this CIA guy was like, in my opinion, Trump is an unwitting agent of the Russian Federation. Oh, I think Colin's getting a phone call.
Wait a minute. So, can we get this on yeah.
Hello,
It's
Hillary.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Hillary, we do have a policy where Colin can answer his phone at any time, but now's kind of a bad time because it's a show.
Yeah, we're in the middle of something.
Oh.
But I guess we could ask you a couple questions.
I mean, we are talking about your book right now. Do you think we could ask you some questions about it, Hillary?
Sure. I'm contractually obligated to speak to your book club, no matter how rude you are on the phone, Colin.
Wait, you know Colin?
Yes, we go way back. We like to give each other a hard time.
How do you know each other?
We're cousins or something. Read the book and you'll find out.
Hillary, I don't know if you remember this, but we actually go way back too. This is a photo of me and you when I was 12, and I'm getting side-eye from 12 people in the same photo. But I know you're on the phone, so you can't see what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, and I don't know you.
Okay. Moving on. Can we maybe ask you some questions about the book?
Sure.
Okay. So, just for the record, your cousin Colin, I know I already said this, he only got halfway through the book, and so these questions are really more for him than for me.
Sorry about that. You said you didn't like flavored goldfish. What foods do you like?
I like regular goldfish, but I also like real goldfish. We have a pond in the backyard filled with beautiful goldfish. And often I will take a stroll after doing yoga in my yoga barn and pick one of the goldfish out from the pond. I throw it live on the grill, 1 minute each side, and then eat it whole.
Wow. All right. So you say a lot of stuff in the book that's very frank. Is there anything from when you were on the campaign trail that you felt like you couldn't say?
A few things that might be considered controversial, I guess. I believe that all trees are fake because the earth is flat. Stevie Wonder can see, but he can only see me. The first time we met, it was really weird. Chemtrails are real. They were formulated by the Clinton Foundation to make people like me, but obviously that didn't work as well as we'd hoped.
Weird one, but what does Trump smell like?
Have you ever had a Furby that malfunctioned and then kind of melted on the inside and it smelled like burnt plastic and batteries?
Is that because he's made of plastic and hair?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're going to let you go. Thank you so much for calling in. It's been wonderful
Bye.
talking to you.
Everyone give it up for Hillary Clinton. And also Catherine Cohen. Okay, well, we have some great people on the lineup tonight talking about this book and maybe stuff slightly related to the book and maybe stuff not related to the book at all. So our first comedian, she has written for Blaze and the Monster Machines on Nickelodeon. Blaze and the Monster Machines is a show for children, and the tagline is "Let's Blaze." But anyways, please give it up for Halcyon Person.
Hey guys, any Blaze fans out there? Any 4-year-olds in the audience? All right. I am so excited to be here. I'm so happy to be at book club to talk about this amazing, incredible book that I definitely read all of. Okay, wait. Show of hands. Who actually read the entire book? Can I see it from the audience? Who read the book? Wow. Okay. I saw one person. Did you really read it though? Did you actually read it and not skim through the paragraphs where she thanks her Chappaqua hair and makeup artist? You read all their names?
No, I skipped the acknowledgments.
Oh, see, yeah, no one really read it except me. I read the entire thing. It's funny that Blythe and Colin thought that I would be a good fit for the show because I actually also wrote a book recently. Next slide. It's called What Happened by Halcyon Person. I actually changed my middle name to Rodham after the election because it was easier than calling my senator. And we all #resist in our own ways, and that's how I decided to do it. But it's inspired by Hillary's amazing book, which, again, I 100% read. And it's just like hers. It's a memoir about my everyday life. And those of you who know me and know my life know that I'm 3 things in this order. I'm a Mike Pence-style Christian. I'm a hot mom to 3 beautiful succulents, and I'm a brand ambassador, okay? Brands come to me to share their amazing products with you, my 119 Instagram followers. How else would you guys learn about the tea that makes you skinny or the tea that makes you poop? Guys, it's the same tea. So I'm really proud to say, actually, that an excerpt of the book was recently featured in Vanity Fair magazine. So I thought I'd read a little bit of it to you guys now. So here it goes. This is from chapter 4. It's called A Day in the Life. I'm definitely an early riser. I like to get up at dawn and greet the sunrise. I also like to get up while my boyfriend Dave is still asleep. That way I can hide all the imperfections of my body from him. How do I do it? Usually I wrap myself from head to toe in the blankets like a doobie to cover all my flaws. And then I clamber blindly in the direction of the bathroom, as daintily as possible, of course. It usually takes about an hour of knocking into furniture like a dumbass bat to make it to the ensuite. Once I'm there, I'll flush the blankets down the toilet to hide any evidence of my shame. Here's a tip, ladies. Plumbers will refuse to fix a toilet with half an Urban Outfitters comforter set stuffed in it, so you've really got to power through and push that whole thing through there. Now that the blankets are gone, I can start getting ready for my day. And for me, that means putting on my crush bone corset. See, it's this piece of fabric that wraps me around my middle and squeezes me in, just like a sexy sausage. I am obsessed with crush bone corsets. I literally refuse to be seen without one modifying my body. After about 2 hours, I'll probably have my waist down to 16 inches, and my boyfriend Dave will be awaking, wondering where the blankets are. And now I'm ready to get dressed. I usually slip into something smart and casual to start the day. An American Girl doll outfit, a Chihuahua Halloween costume, or anything that would fit a toddler with tits. Then I'll eat a little bit of breakfast. My absolute favorite is 7-grain sprouted toast. Because crush bone corsets keep your posture picture perfect at all times, I probably won't be able to sit down. So instead, I'll just use a really, really, really long straw. Ladies, here's another little tip. You cannot eat toast through a straw. Around 9:30 a.m., I head out of the apartment for the day. Depending on whether I have a meeting with my agent or a meeting with my other agent, I usually pass out on the subway platform for 8 or 9 hours. Thank goodness I am wearing a crushed bone corset. It keeps me standing stick straight at attention, even when I lose consciousness. Ladies, here's another tip. Blood filling your eyeballs means it's working. I usually regain consciousness just in time for dinner. It's a good thing the crushed bone corset transitions so well from day to night. This is just a little side thing. Dave has this really funny joke where he says that the crushed bone corset makes me so irritable that I try to poison his food. He makes the cat taste it first. After I've sucked a few grains of sushi rice through a straw, I'm ready to just relax and finish dinner. It's time to snuggle into some cashmere, drink a glass of wine, and watch some Netflix as I stand at rigid attention next to the couch. Here's a tip. Your brain does not need oxygen at every single second of the day, just a few of them. Around 11 p.m., the sleeping pills I've slipped into Dave's glass of wine have kicked in, and he's completely knocked out. That's the perfect time to drag his limp body back up to the bedroom so I can get ready to go to bed without having to reveal to another living soul the horrors of my body. Thank you so much, Crushbone. Oh, ladies, one last tip for you. Don't forget to buy a new comforter on Amazon Prime because you're going to need it in the morning. Thank you, guys. I'm Hillary Rodham Person.
Thanks so much, Halcyon. So, a lot of you may have noticed that when she called earlier, Hillary Clinton said that we knew each other well and are cousins or something. I thought that I would use my time tonight to let you in on how I know Hillary and retell the interactions that we've had over the years. I was hanging out in a bar in the East Village in the 1980s. But back then, it was cool, and I was the same age as I am now. I wore a leather jacket that I had embroidered by hand with words like yeah and whatever and Black Sabbath. Many of you are probably thinking, is it possible to hand embroider a leather jacket without ruining it? I can now tell you that no. The jacket was ruined almost immediately, but I wore it for one night. Anyway, I was hanging out in the bar with a bunch of friends. Suddenly, out of a big crowd, someone grabbed my hand and put a little bag of white powder into it. I looked up to see who the owner of the hand was. It was a young Hillary Clinton. If you were thinking that the white powder was cocaine, you couldn't be more wrong. It was ketamine. Hillary and I did a bunch of it together and had the wildest time. We were both in an insane K-hole, and we ended up deciding that she should run for office. The second time Hillary and I met was when I was working for a while as a door-to-door towel salesman. How would that work, you ask? I will tell you. I carried a big bucket and a bunch of towels around. I would knock on people's doors and ask them for water to put in my bucket. I would tell them that I was thirsty and that drinking water like a dog from a bucket was a fetish I had. I assured them that once I got the water, I would not indulge in my fetish on their doorstep, but I would go at least 50 feet away. Most people were fine with it and would fill my bucket up with water, believing my dog water fetish story. But once my bucket was returned, filled to the brim, I would pour it all over myself. I would then grab a towel and dry myself off, showing the potential buyer how good my towels were at drying. It's important to make customers feel like they're in an organic situation and not being marketed to, I always say. I would then offer them the sopping wet towel I had just used, saying it could be theirs for only 4 payments of $19 over 1 year. Most of the time, it worked. Anyway, I was going around Washington, D.C. in the 90s, doing my usual towels sales pitch, when I walked up to a big house. It was pretty hard to get to the door, and I actually had to fight a large number of people in hand-to-hand combat in order to get there. But after defeating the last person, using only towels and a bucket as weapons, I was at the door. If you're interested to know how I fought, I would do a sort of whipping thing with the towel and then bang them on the head with a bucket. I knocked on the door, and who should answer but my old friend from the East Village, Hillary Clinton. She recognized me immediately, even though the last time we met, we were super fucked up. We caught up and hung out for ages, but eventually it was time to leave. I brought out my bucket, and before I could ask her to fill it and tell her about the dog fetish thing, she said she would buy all the towels I had. More recently, I was looking at my back in the mirror. For my whole life, I've suffered from a tense back. I even went to the lengths of buying one of those foam rollers for myself. It's in my apartment. I've concluded in the past few years that this is because I do not exercise enough, and I've rectified this by using a rowing machine at the gym. It's truly a full body workout, and it's great cardio. What a combination. If you're interested in reading more about this subject, Google the words rowing machine. So I was looking at my back, and I noticed a mole that looked a bit weird. I went to see a doctor about it. Usually I have a rule that I wait for 2 things to be wrong with me before I go to see a doctor, so I can justify the copay. But this mole was very worrying looking. The doctor took a long look at it, and to my surprise, she told me that the mole was in fact a miniaturized Hillary Clinton. As a practical joke, Hillary had used secret government shrinking technology to shrink herself and cling onto my back. We laughed a lot about it together, and the doctor asked Hillary for an autograph, which she agreed to kindly, but it was really small because Hillary was miniature. This is when things got weird, though. Hillary realized that she'd forgotten that the government hadn't yet developed secret technology to make her normal-sized again. They're currently working on it, I'm told. But in the meantime, she's on my back. Right here. Sort of untucked my shirt for the bit. Okay. That was my performance. Thank you so much. I now have the distinct pleasure of bringing on, you've seen his work in The New Yorker, and he's also got a podcast called Turner Masters Memory Hospital, Stephen Markow.
Hi, everybody. I just want to thank Blythe and Colin for having me on the book club, and especially this month, because What Happened is a book about looking to the past, looking within oneself, facing hard truths, to grow, to heal, to move forward. And that's exactly what I've been trying to do in my life and work lately. For those of you who know me from my online oeuvre, I'm featured prominently in the gallery Instagram. You know that I am often bewigged, and this is the real me, and sorry, this is the real me. And it's tough. I walk down the street, and I suffer the slings and arrows. I get people call out to me, and they say, Slender Man for Urban Outfitters. They say, Moby, if he was one of the monsters from Space Jam. They say, Scarecrow for Inside the Supreme Store. I came to life and skated out. But I feel good. I feel brave. I know you're not supposed to admit that, but well, here's another thing. I've tried to compensate by growing facial hair, and that's brave in itself, because I think when you're as thin as I am and you grow facial hair, you don't look rugged. You look like you've been stuck somewhere. Like maybe you were in the woods and you cut down a tree, but it fell on you. And you've been there for a while. But like I said, I feel good. I feel like I'm the real me. And I'm trying to write as well. I wouldn't call them memoirs. I'm just doing my daily pages. Every morning I'm journaling, and I'm trying to see what's going on up here and see what I've buried. And I've got, as my buddies in the grave robber community tell me, you just got to keep digging until you find the treasure. And that's what I've been trying to do. So I've been writing stories about my life, and I've put them in the form of video, because I know not everybody is a ear learner. Some people are of the eyes, and I respect that. So I've combined both, and I'd like to play one for you now. It is like many philosophers. It came to me as I was taking a long walk in a park. One time I took a long walk around a park, surveying where all the geese hung out, just sort of doing their thing. I admired the geese because they were like birds with snakes on top of them. Like, they don't just have snake heads, they have whole snakes on top of their bodies. And it's not just a visual likeness. Have you ever walked by a goose and heard it hiss? It's 100% true that they hiss. Not a lot of people know that. At first, I thought it was unnerving, but after a while, hearing a goose hiss and feeling the rush of adrenaline that accompanied the experience became something of a drug that I was violently addicted to. As soon as I had a chance, I'd break off from the family reunion barbecue and walk by some geese. trembling with anticipation for that snake sound.
Okay, thank you so much. Well, you never know what's going to just come to mind when you're taking a walk through nature. You have a quiet mind, a receptive mind. You notice things you've never noticed before. The world is brand new, as if you're a baby inside of a big person's body, controlling it by grabbing onto the tendons as if they were the strings of a puppet, moving it like that. This next story, a little bit of background, a little bit about me. I grew up in a primary decade, a big-time decade called the 90s. Probably heard of it. Not everybody had the privilege of being a child back then, but I did. And every day was a roller coaster that just, came off the tracks and kind of spiraled around until it landed on a big pile of slime. I'm sorry, I shouldn't be free associating. That's for the process which leads to these stories. I shouldn't be doing it to set them up. But once you start free associating, it's very difficult to stop. Car, antlers, deer, man with a mask, father. I'll take these notes in a second, but I'll just show you this next video, which is actually kind of a beautiful memory from school. So let's play it for you now.
I was always awkward at dances. I remember in 6th grade, the thong song was popular. One time, Cisco came to my school and just stood in the corner of a room facing the wall, like in the Blair Witch. I think that movie had just come out, and I guess maybe he saw it and liked it enough to do that. He came to the school dance and stood in the corner the whole time. That's when I slow danced for the first time with a girl named Maria, I think. I started shuffling my waist further and further away from her, stretching my spinal column out until I forced my body to go through puberty to accommodate the new aberrations in my bones. Me and my boys would pregame before dances with subs that were mostly mayo. A mayo high was pretty much the bath salts of the 1999s. The EMTs had to pry Cisco and Lou Bega off the wall and hook their brains up to a car battery to get them conscious again. Honestly, we were all too worried about the Y2K bug to ever think about that ever again.
Yeah, never talked about it. Never talked about it ever again. But that was a big get. Cisco and Lou Bega for the 1 square mile town I grew up in, central New Jersey. I don't even think anyone asked them. They just walked right into the room, plastered their face against the wall. But hey, we made it. We made it past the Y2K bug, and that was the biggest problem we faced as a species, and I'm glad we're past it. We can just keep going forward. This next and last story, how can I set it up? Okay. Okay, it's about religion. So if that's a sensitive subject for you, watch it. Please do watch it, because I think that'll be good for you. I think that'll be healing. That's what this is about, confronting potentially painful subjects and memories. But actually, I had a kind of the opposite of the spotlight situation. It was actually very, very fun and good and cool, and I am confident I'm remembering all of these details right. They all came back to me. I know there's something called a screen memory. Maybe you're misremembering something that covers over a really painful memory. I'm pretty confident that's not the case here. I'm just remembering something that was really fun and awesome exactly as it happened. So play that next one, please. Thank you.
I was raised Catholic, but in a very hands-off way. We only went to church a couple of times a year. But I had a really cool priest. His name was Father Fucks-a-Lot. He was 24 and still in prison. All his sermons were done by telephone. He'd be in the middle of drinking piss wine out of his cell toilet when he called, and communion was always done with edibles, so everyone got fucked up and started making out. Church was cool, so I loved it. The church guitarist was thirsting more, and he'd be wailing away on his noise machine and shaking his head like an epileptic, and we'd all be doing heroin, and most of us would be wearing cleats, so the floor got all fucked up too. And Father Fucks-a-Lot would be getting jerked off by the hottest guys in prison, and we all loved that, because God rules.
What better sentiment to end on than God rules? Thank you so much. God rules. Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Oh my God. Please give it up once more for Stephen Markow. Oh my God. Stephen is a genius. Okay. I made something weird and insane that can only exist in this show and has no purpose, so please enjoy. My pitch for a Hillary Rodham movie. Specifically not Hillary Rodham Clinton. Okay. And also, if you work at Netflix, please come talk to me afterwards. All right, so there's a line in what happened that really made me be like, I need to write this as like a play or a TV show or a movie. She says, like talking about being in the White House, there was a minor Washington tempest back in the 1990s when a newspaper claimed I was having seances in the White House to commune directly with Eleanor Roosevelt's spirit. I wasn't, though it would have been nice to talk to her now and then. And I was like, oh my God, I fucking wish Hillary Clinton was constantly having seances when she was First Lady. How fucking cool would that be? So, yeah, here's my whole idea of how this could be a movie. Oh, and also, like, this was a real thing. I Googled it, and, like, some dude wrote a whole book in which he was like, yeah, Hillary, like, as a mental exercise, talks to dead people, which were Eleanor Roosevelt and Gandhi, and, like, CNN wrote about it, the New York Times wrote about it. Yeah, it was crazy. All right, so, okay, yeah. So it would be like a 1990s aesthetic witch movie in which Hillary Rodham Clinton is a witch, but also, like, yeah, we don't have to involve the Clinton part. So here's our girl Hillary in the 90s. She's kind of rocking this vibe that's like, she's hot in a conventional way, but only because, like, you made her be hot in a conventional way. And, like, she would prefer to have, like, my kind of hair where it's, like, brown and frizzy and, like, objectively ugly. But and, like, wouldn't want to wear lipstick, but, like, you, like, made Bill not be, like, the governor of Arkansas until she said, like, I'll take his last name. So she's, like, hot in a scary way. And it's in the way that, like, when Ursula turns into brunette Ariel at the end of Little Mermaid. Like, this is the vibe. So, like, if it's going to be a 1990s witch movie, what kind of 1990s witch is she, right? I thought maybe Sabrina the Teenage Witch, but she'd have to be the Ants because she's not a teen. And, like, it's too close to reality and it's boring to me. So, like, here's the Ants from Sabrina. And, like, here's Hillary. She literally looks like them. It's like, that's not why I'm writing this movie. And then I was like, ooh, Practical Magic. I just watched this last weekend. But, like, it's way too chill and way too sexy to be Hillary. Also, like, it's not edgy in the way that I want it to be, which is, like, it's insane that Hillary's not president, both, like, in 2016 and in the 1990s, and, like, from the moment she was born. Like, I know she's got problems, but I love her. Also, like, I watched Practical Magic, and I have no idea what happened. So it couldn't be that, because what is it? Okay, so then The Craft. Yes! 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 Obviously, this movie is going to be The Craft, because it's the coolest look of all time. Like, how cool is this aesthetic? Like, I would scream if the First Lady was, like, wearing black and, like, always talking about how it's the full moon in Scorpio tonight. She's like, I checked my moon app. So, specifically, she is the look when the main girl that's, like, the good witch or whatever, glamours herself to be blonde. So, yeah, look, it's literally the same. Okay, so what kinds of witch shit is she doing in this movie? Obviously, she's holding a seance to talk to Eleanor Roosevelt. Like, that's her one wish. So, here's the Roosevelt room. She's inviting only women, obviously. She's doing it in the Roosevelt room because I feel like that's a good place to commune with the spirits, but there's more candles and stuff. And she's asking for advice on how to pass universal health care. I don't know that Eleanor Roosevelt would know how to do that, but it just seems like, what else are they going to talk about? And maybe she's like making a guitar float for some reason. I googled seance and I was like, I don't know why they would ever want to do that, but it seems cool. She's making voodoo dolls of members of Congress. So later in the book, she writes, I was tempted to make voodoo dolls of certain members of the press in Congress and stick them full of pins. And she was writing about her emails when she wrote that, but I think it would be an evergreen idea. So I googled Newt Gingrich voodoo doll and it came up. And then this is Bob Dole, who ran against Bill Clinton in 1996 and was like the old guy at the Trump. I don't want to be rude, but he was the old guy at the RNC that seemed like he was being weakened at Bernied. Well, I'm sure he was a great patriot. And then this is Dennis Hastert, who was like Speaker of the House from like the late 90s on, and he's a sexual predator, so he deserves to be voodooed. And then probably also she would be like binding Bill Clinton from committing harm, because he committed a lot of harm both on a personal and a political level. So hopefully she would, I don't know, prevent that. This is literally not even a comedy piece. This is just like me being like, wouldn't this be a great movie? So in conclusion, here's why this would be a good movie. Powerful women aren't allowed to be president. They're only allowed to be witches. Thank you. When I was little, I was like, oh, I want to be president when I grow up. And then I like got to a school where everyone worked really hard. And I was like, they're going to be president. I thought I was the only person in the world that worked hard. And I learned that I wasn't. But now I know that women can't be president anyways. So here are some women in the past who were like super cool and accused of being witches. Jeanne d'Arc, Joan of Arc. Anne Boleyn, super cunt, I've learned from watching the miniseries Wolf Hall. And then also Melisandre, who in my opinion should sit the Iron Throne. She's so fucking cool. She's from Game of Thrones. I don't know if you guys watch the show. But I've never related to anyone more. She's like, she appears to be a hot 20-something, but really she's 500 years old. So yeah, powerful women. I feel like it's a good theme. Also, everyone loves special effects. And that's my movie. Thank you. So we have one final performer for you. Oh, let me turn this off. He is so kind, so funny. He has a podcast called Conversations with People Who Hate Me, and it's part of the Brooklyn Podcast Festival tomorrow, right here, Union Hall, 8 p.m., with a live person who hates him. So check it out if you're around. Please give it up for Dylan Marron.
Hello, Brooklyn. Keep it going for the amazing and kind duo of Blythe and Colin. Wow, wow, wow. They are not only great humans, but also literate Americans who love to read. Make some noise for books. Make some noise for literacy. Okay, I should explain. As you can probably tell, I'm not a human but a somewhat sentient robot, and I've been programmed by the Hillary 2020 campaign to engage young and hip voters like you. You see, research showed that it was just too dicey to put a woman on the front lines, so we at Campaign HQ opted to instead go for the safest bet possible, a female robot programmed by a man. Do I have any voters in the audience? I said, do I have any voters in the audience? Wonderful. The good news about me is that I'm tailored to be likable and relatable to multiple different audiences because of my geolocation capabilities. So, for example, I know that we are at 702 Union Street, Brooklyn, New York 11215, which is an area heavily populated by well-meaning white people and their many young children. Is that right? Also, I was able to hack into the guest list and ascertain that there are also many left-leaning, literate, and well-educated folks here tonight who grapple with notions of privilege, power, and identity. Do I have any women in the audience? I said, where my ladies at? Not to brag, but not only have I been programmed to be a proud feminist, but I have also been programmed to be an intersectional feminist. We learned the hard way that intersectionality is the only way to do it, so we're making it all better for 2020. Watch this. I have a question for you. Shout out the answer. How many cents does a woman make to a man's dollar? No, 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 no. That's white women. Black women earn 69 cents and Latinx women earn 57 cents to a man's dollar. Fuck out of here with that bullshit. Yes, for those of you who got this question wrong, don't worry. I've already dragged you on Twitter and humiliated you on Facebook. I have additionally tagged you in an Instagram post with the caption, "This is what an unintersectional feminist looks like." Okay, for this next part I need you to follow my instructions. Are you ready? I said, are you ready? That's what I like to hear. Now all you have to do is follow my instructions, okay? All right, everybody stand up. Yes, that means everybody, even the cynical audience members who think they are unique for not liking audience participation. Everybody repeat after me. We are all Americans. We are all Americans and I will not fuck this up when the next election comes around. Okay, now you're done repeating what I say. Just keep following my instructions. Look around the room and take a good look at the setup. Notice where the chairs are and who you are sitting next to. You got a good look? Good. Now move all the chairs and bags to the walls of the room so there is just a big space in the middle of the room. But please be mindful of any special equipment. Yes, you heard me right. Move everything to the periphery of the room so there's a big empty space in the middle. But please make sure to not block the door so that we can uphold fire safety standards. Yes, you heard me right. Move everything to the periphery of the room so there's a big empty space in the middle. But please make sure to not block the door so that we can uphold fire safety standards. Yes, you heard me right. Move everything to the periphery of the room so there's a big empty space in the middle. But please make sure to not block the door so that we can uphold fire safety standards. Take your time so you don't break anything or rush anyone. Keep a small passageway for the door. Keep making an empty space in the middle. Take your time so you don't break anything or rush anyone. Keep a small passageway for the door. Keep making an empty space in the middle. Okay, now everyone go to the middle of that empty space. This means everyone, even the people who think they're all cool in the back. You should all be in a clump in the middle of the room. Okay, now everyone go to the middle of that Okay, now everyone go to the middle of that empty space. This means everyone, even the people who think they're all cool in the back. You should all be in a clump in the middle of the room. Okay, did that get weird for you? That is good to know. I will tell my software engineers that playing Fast Car by Tracy Chapman on a Saturday night in Park Slope gets weird. Okay, instead do this. Everyone make a big circle so that you are facing the middle of the room. That's right. The song didn't work, so now we're trying something new. I'm always calibrating. Make a big circle facing the center of the room and all hold hands. Okay. For the next portion I want you to direct everything you say into the middle of the room so that it is as if you are speaking to everyone in the circle but also everyone in the world. In unison, repeat after me. You are beautiful. You are worthy of love because you are a human. I think you are beautiful and this world is challenging but also beautiful. In 2020 I will move to Wyoming and or Pennsylvania. In 2020 I will move to Wyoming and or Pennsylvania. When I am settled I will canvass for Hillary fucking Clinton every day of my life. Now stop repeating after me and everyone take a collective deep breath in. And exhale a collective deep breath out. Great. Now quickly put the room back to the way it was. Put the chairs where they were before. Make sure to move quickly but carefully so as not to knock anything over. Keep putting the room back together. I'm not going to be blamed for going over time just because you fuckers were slow. Quickly but carefully. Quickly but carefully. Keep putting the room back together. I'm not going to be blamed for going over time just because you fuckers were slow. Quickly but carefully. Quickly but carefully. Keep putting the room back together. I'm not going to be blamed for going over time just because you fuckers were slow. Quickly but carefully. Quickly but carefully. Keep putting the room back together. I'm not going to be blamed for going over time just because you fuckers were slow. Quickly but carefully. Quickly but carefully. Keep putting the room back together. I'm not going to be blamed for going over time just because you fuckers were slow. Quickly but carefully. Quickly but carefully. Put your finishing touches on making the room look exactly as it was before. Now that everyone is seated, I'm going to leave you with my final thoughts. Now that everyone is seated, I'm going to leave you with my final thoughts. Honestly, I feel I01010101110000000111. Oh no, I am not allowed to express emotion because it alienates people. But quickly, I am overwhelmed with a sense of 010101. I'm so sorry I have to go. Goodbye.
Oh my god.
That was
Please,
incredible.
One more time, give it up for Dylan Marron and the coolest fucking thing I've ever seen.
It was absolutely amazing. That was truly amazing.
Well, that's our show, you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for coming. See you next month.
Yeah, next
at
month,
Book Club.
next year. And please see more Brooklyn Podcast Fest shows.
Yeah.
All right, see you guys upstairs.
Thank you so much.
Book Club is held monthly at Union Hall in Brooklyn, New York. Live sound and recording by Gary O'Keefe. Your hosts were Blythe Roberson and Colin Stokes. Produced and edited by Shannon Manning for Good Orbit.
Roger, nice to be in orbit.